When a man acts normal, most people assume he simply isn't interested. But what if that very normalcy is the disguise? What if that calm exterior, that composure, is actually the sign of something deeper, something he's trying very hard to control? You see, attraction isn't always loud. It doesn't always arrive with grand gestures or flirtatious energy. Sometimes it hides in restraint. It hides in a man's effort to remain composed because his emotions are louder than he wants to admit. When a man feels deeply attracted, his natural instinct, especially if he values his image of strength and self-sufficiency, is to manage that attraction. He doesn't want to appear too eager, too vulnerable, or too invested. He fears that if he lets it show, he'll lose the sense of control he's built around his identity. So instead he acts normal. He stays calm. He talks to you like he talks to anyone else, but that act of normalcy is rarely effortless. It's work. It's him trying to find safety within attraction. And here's the paradox. The more he tries to seem unaffected, the more his true feelings start to reveal themselves in the smallest, most unguarded moments. He might look away too quickly when you catch his gaze. He might speak with deliberate calm, but his tone softens ever so slightly when it's directed at you. Or maybe you notice he becomes quieter, not because he's disinterested, but because he's carefully choosing his words. This isn't disconnection. It's management. It's control. And control is often the clearest sign of emotional depth. You can almost think of it like this. When attraction is shallow, it's impulsive. It's easy to express because it's surface level. But when attraction runs deep, it becomes something a person wants to protect. He becomes aware of what's at stake. The risk of rejection, of being seen too clearly, of caring too much too soon. So his composure is not the absence of feeling, it's the shield he builds around it. If you want to understand this kind of man, stop listening to his words alone. Watch his micro-expressions. Watch the timing of his laughter, the way he shifts his posture when you're close, or how he subtly adjusts his energy in your presence. These are not random actions, they are unconscious responses. Psychology tells us that attraction triggers a mild state of stress. It makes people self-aware, sometimes overly so. That's why he may seem off around you, even when he's pretending nothing's changed. His nervous system betrays what his words are trying to hide. And here's the deeper truth. Real attraction doesn't need to announce itself. It simply exists in the tension between what's shown and what's suppressed. The man who acts normal isn't detached, he's processing. He's trying to understand what this connection means to him. The danger is when you misread that calmness as a lack of care, when in reality, it's often the opposite. Sometimes the strongest emotions are the quietest. They don't erupt, they simmer. And the man who seems the most composed might be the one fighting the hardest to stay that way. So before you assume his calm means indifference, ask yourself, is he distant? Or is he protecting something that feels too real to reveal just yet? Because the truth is, the ones who care deeply often show it the least. And those who seem unaffected are sometimes the ones most affected of all. *** closing statement. *** when someone's silence feels confusing, don't rush to fill it with doubt. Sometimes that silence isn't the absence of emotion. It's the presence of something powerful enough to make words feel unnecessary. When a man feels deeply attracted but doesn't want it to show, one of the most revealing signs isn't in what he says, but in how he pays attention. You'll notice it not in his words, but in his awareness of you. He remembers small things, something you said in passing, a change in your tone, the way you like your coffee, the song you mentioned once weeks ago. These are not accidents, they're the quiet footprints of focus, and focus is the truest expression of interest. When someone is genuinely attracted to you, they start to build a mental map of who you are. They're not doing it consciously, it's almost instinctual. Their mind starts collecting details, observing patterns, tuning into your rhythm. It's human psychology. What we focus on, we value. The reason this is such a powerful clue is because it bypasses words entirely. A man can say he's interested, but attention can't be faked for long. Sustained focus always exposes real attraction. Now, this kind of attention doesn't always look romantic. It's subtle. It can show up as him noticing when you're tired, sensing when you've withdrawn, or remembering something that even your close friends forgot. He may not verbalize it, because doing so might reveal too much, but he'll act on it. Maybe he adjusts his schedule just to be available when you need him, or casually mentions something you thought he'd long forgotten. What you're witnessing is emotional investment leaking through the cracks of his composure. In psychology, this is often described as selective attention. Our brains are wired to filter out 99% of what happens around us, except for the things we find important or emotionally significant. So when a man seems to remember every small thing about you, it's because his mind has marked you as significant, even if he's trying to appear unaffected. His awareness of you becomes instinctive, and that's not something you can manufacture or suppress. But here's where it gets interesting. Sometimes he'll try to hide that awareness. He'll downplay it, act surprised when he remembers, or make it sound coincidental. Oh, right, you said you liked that place, didn't you? When in truth, he's been holding onto that information because it mattered to him. This attempt to disguise awareness is often a man's way of managing vulnerability. He doesn't want you to see how much he's been noticing because awareness is intimacy, and intimacy means risk. You see, attention is emotional currency. People spend it only where they see value. When a man gives you his attention repeatedly, intentionally, and even when he doesn't have to, it's a quiet declaration. It's him saying, "You matter enough for me to keep track." So many people misread this kind of attraction because it's not loud. But that's the beauty of it. It's genuine. It's not the kind of attention that demands recognition. It's the kind that seeks understanding. The more you observe his quiet awareness, the more you'll realize it's not about flirtation. It's about connection. And if you ever doubt what someone feels, don't listen only to what they say. Watch what they remember. Because the mind doesn't hold onto what it doesn't care about. Closing statement. When someone consistently remembers the details others forget, it's not coincidence. It's care disguised as composure. Real attraction doesn't shout, it pays attention. And the man who notices the smallest things about you is often the one feeling the biggest things he's not yet ready to admit. One of the most telling signs of hidden attraction isn't found in what a man says, it's in the subtle shifts of his energy when you're around. You'll notice it in the way he tenses slightly when you walk into a room, the way his posture changes, the brief pauses before he speaks, or the flicker in his expression when your attention shifts to someone else. These micro behaviors often betray the emotions he's trying hardest to conceal. Because when attraction runs deep, the body speaks long before the mind can edit the message. This isn't about being observant just for curiosity's sake. It's about understanding human nature. When someone tries to suppress attraction, it doesn't disappear. It just finds quieter ways to express itself. Think about it. Emotions are energy, and energy always seeks expression. So, when a man feels drawn to you but doesn't want you, or perhaps himself, to fully know it, his body becomes the battleground between desire and restraint. He may lean in slightly when you speak, even if he tries to act casual. He might mirror your gestures without realizing it, or his voice might soften when he says your name. These aren't rehearsed acts. They're instinctive responses that reveal how present you are in his awareness. From a psychological standpoint, this happens because attraction activates our mirror neurons, the same ones responsible for empathy and emotional resonance. When we're emotionally engaged with someone, our brain begins to subtly imitate their movements and expressions. That's why you might notice him matching your tone or mirroring your body language. It's an unconscious form of alignment, and it's one of the most honest signs of connection. But here's what's even more interesting. When a man is trying asterisk, not asterisk, to show his attraction, you'll often see conflicting signals. He might engage warmly one moment and pull back the next. He might tease you to downplay what he feels or act indifferent to test if you'll chase. That inconsistency isn't disinterest, it's self-protection. He's managing the tension between what he feels and what he thinks he should show. And in that tension, you'll find truth. This is where so many people misread the situation. They take emotional inconsistency as lack of clarity, when in reality, it's often the opposite. It's the mind trying to maintain control over what the heart has already decided. And if you learn to see beyond the confusion, to the micro expressions, the slight hesitation, the moments of vulnerability that leak through the surface, you begin to see his attraction for what it is, real but restrained. Philosophically speaking, attraction is rarely convenient. It shakes the illusion of control we like to maintain. It exposes our longing, our hope, and our fear of rejection all at once. That's why some men try to appear unaffected. They're not indifferent. They're protecting themselves from the emotional chaos that comes with being asterisk seen. Asterisk so, the next time you find yourself wondering if his calmness means he's not into you, look closer. Stillness can hide storms. A man who feels nothing doesn't have to manage his composure. He simply is. But a man who feels deeply has to work to appear normal. Closing statement. Real attraction doesn't always announce itself with bold gestures. It hides in restraint, in the pauses, in the effort to seem unaffected. The irony is, the more he tries to mask his feelings, the more visible they become to the woman who truly knows how to see. One of the most fascinating indicators of hidden attraction is how a man responds to moments of silence and emotional space. Most people assume that interest is proven through constant communication, texts, or grand gestures, but true attraction often reveals itself when there's nothing happening. When the energy shifts, when you pull back a little, when the silence stretches out, how he reacts in that space says everything about what's really going on beneath the surface. A man who's merely curious about you won't even notice the quiet. He'll move on easily, fill his time, and distract himself. But a man who's drawn to you, truly drawn, feels that silence. He senses the absence of your energy like a song suddenly paused mid-chorus. You can see it in how he subtly checks back in, maybe under the guise of something casual. He'll find small, seemingly meaningless excuses to reconnect. An emoji reply to your story, a random question he could have Googled, or even a comment that feels like it's just testing the waters. These moments aren't about the words themselves. They're about his need to feel that connection again without exposing too much of himself. From a psychological perspective, this happens because emotional attachment triggers anxiety when the source of that emotional stimulation disappears. Attraction and attachment share similar neural pathways. They both release dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin, which are all linked to pleasure, reward, and emotional security. When that connection is suddenly removed, the brain feels the drop, just like it would with any addictive stimulus. That's why silence reveals so much. It shows whether he was just playing a part or if something deeper was resonating with him. And yet, this is where many women misinterpret the situation. They think his delayed response or momentary withdrawal means he doesn't care. But often, that hesitation isn't disinterest, it's processing. When a man feels something real, it makes him reflect, especially if he's not used to emotional vulnerability. He might retreat for a moment to regain control, to make sense of why your presence affected him in ways that surprised him. It's not the absence of care, it's the intensity of it. Philosophically, silence is a mirror. It reflects back whatever truth we've been trying to ignore. When attraction runs deep, the absence of the person only amplifies their presence in our minds. That's why some men become quieter, more introspective when they're falling for someone. They're not trying to play games, they're trying to regain composure. They don't want to show how deeply they've been moved, so they hide behind logic, distraction, or even detachment. But underneath that stillness is the unmistakable pull of connection. And this is the paradox. What you interpret as indifference is often the moment his feelings are solidifying. Stillness in love is not the absence of emotion. It's the place where emotion takes root. It's where he realizes this isn't just attraction, it's vulnerability. It's the awareness that you have the power to affect his peace. So, the next time you sense his silence, don't rush to fill it. Let it breathe. Let the space speak, because in that silence, you'll discover who he truly is, whether his connection to you was temporary or transformational. Asterisk, asterisk, closing statement. Asterisk, asterisk, silence doesn't always mean he's forgotten you. Sometimes, it's the sound of him realizing how deeply you've reached him. The quiet isn't empty. It's where truth begins to echo. One of the clearest signs of hidden attraction lies in how a man unconsciously starts mirroring you, not just your gestures, but your rhythm, your tone, your emotional energy. It's a subtle, almost invisible dance that psychology calls emotional synchronization. When someone feels drawn to you, their mind begins aligning itself with yours, their speech patterns shift. Their posture softens when you do, and they start reflecting your energy back to you without realizing it. It's not something that can be faked because it comes from instinct, not intent. This happens because true attraction isn't just about physical desire, it's about asterisk connection. Asterisk, when a man is emotionally engaged, his subconscious begins to seek harmony with you. It's the body's way of saying, I feel safe here. You'll notice it in the smallest ways. He leans in when you do, he laughs just after you do, or he mirrors your expressions during conversation. These moments might seem insignificant, but they're the body's language of trust and attraction. It's human nature trying to close the emotional gap. There's a beautiful psychology behind this. We mirror those we want to bond with because our brains are wired for empathy. When someone is emotionally important to us, mirror neurons in the brain activate, helping us to feel what they feel, to understand them without words. So when a man mirrors you, it's not a strategy, it's an emotional reflection. His attraction isn't about performing, it's about syncing. But here's the deeper truth. Emotional mirroring doesn't just reveal interest, it exposes vulnerability. Because when someone allows themselves to align with you on that level, they are surrendering control. They're allowing themselves to be influenced, even softened by your presence. And that's not something people do lightly, especially men who pride themselves on composure and control. However, not every man is aware of this shift. He might try to hide it, staying composed, keeping his words measured, but his body will betray him. The more he feels for you, the more his guard lowers in ways he doesn't notice. His reactions become quicker, his tone gentler, his attention sharper. It's almost as though your energy sets the rhythm, and he can't help but move in time with it. But this is also where awareness becomes your power. Many women miss this cue because they're too focused on what he says. But attraction often lives in what he reflects. The real question isn't, is he chasing me? It's, is he attuning to me? Because attraction that's real doesn't need constant proof. It reveals itself in the spaces between words, in the subtle harmonies of two people resonating with each other's presence. Philosophically, this kind of mirroring speaks to something even deeper, that love, at its essence, is resonance. It's not about one person dominating or pursuing the other. It's about finding the same frequency, the same pulse. And when that happens, communication transcends language. You begin to feel understood, even in silence. So, when you notice him subtly reflecting your mood, your gestures, or your tempo, don't dismiss it as coincidence. See it for what it is, the human heart revealing what the mind is still trying to hide. Closing statement. Real attraction doesn't shout, it echoes. When someone starts to move in sync with your energy, it's not mimicry, it's their soul whispering, I feel you, and that's where connection truly begins. There's a particular kind of attraction that doesn't announce itself, it hides behind restraint. Sometimes, the strongest sign that a man is deeply drawn to you is the very fact that he's trying not to show it. And that's because real attraction, the kind that unsettles a person, often makes them feel out of control. When someone feels something that deeply, their instinct isn't always to move closer, it's often to pull back, to compose themselves, to regain balance. You might see it in the way he pauses before responding, or how he suddenly shifts the topic when the energy between you gets too intimate. Maybe his eyes linger for a second too long, but then he looks away, pretending to be indifferent. These little moments, the hesitation, the deflection, the avoidance are not signs of disinterest. They're signs of internal conflict, because when a man feels something real, it awakens parts of him that he can't easily control. His logical mind tries to steady the emotions that his heart is already losing to. The paradox here is fascinating. The more a man tries to appear unaffected, the more his restraint becomes evidence of attraction. Psychology tells us that humans regulate emotion when it feels too intense to manage. That means he's not pulling back because he doesn't care, but because he does perhaps more than he's ready to admit. His silence, his caution, his effort to remain normal, all of it becomes a defense mechanism to protect himself from vulnerability. And here's where most people misread the situation. We live in a culture that glorifies overt pursuit, the chase, the bold confession, the constant texting. But not all connection unfolds that way. Sometimes attraction moves quietly beneath the surface. Sometimes it's in the way a man listens just a little too closely, remembers what you said even when you thought he wasn't paying attention, or subtly changes his behavior to impress you without ever acknowledging it. That's not passivity, that's guarded sincerity. In many cases, men have learned to equate vulnerability with weakness. So when real feelings start to surface, they instinctively armor up. It's not rejection, it's self-protection. Because allowing themselves to feel means risking being seen, and being seen means risking being hurt. So he might keep the connection light, make jokes, act casual, but underneath there's a tension, a pull he's constantly managing. What you need to understand is that attraction is rarely about the words people say, it's about the energy they suppress. The unspoken moments, the pauses, the small contradictions, they often tell the truest story. You'll sense it in how he treats you differently than others, even when he's pretending not to. His restraint isn't a wall, it's a reflection of how much power your presence has over him. Philosophically, this restraint reveals a universal truth. The things that move us most deeply are the very things we try hardest to control. Because love, desire, connection, they make us confront our own fragility. And most people aren't ready for that, so they hide behind composure, hoping it will protect them from the chaos that comes with caring too much. But in reality, it's that chaos, that loss of control, that makes attraction real. When someone tries to suppress it, they're only proving how powerful it truly is. Asterisk asterisk, closing statement. Asterisk asterisk, sometimes the silence between you says more than any confession ever could. When a man fights his feelings, it's not a lack of attraction, it's proof of its depth. Because the hardest thing to hide is the emotion that never stops whispering. Even when he refuses to speak it,